So you just discovered you're an average looking person, or maybe you already knew. And I'm here to tell you that it is okay to look average. There is beauty in looking average. Our average faces connects us to each other, our ancestors. It does not make you worthless or whatever society deems. Yes, there. Oh, sorry, guys. I am in the car and I just realized that my stuff is knocking down. But yes, there are beautifully stunning, gorgeous, gorgeous people out there, gorgeous girls. And they have privileges, as they should. But average looking people also have privileges, just in a different way. And I think it's really beneficial to our mental health if we all know and accept our place in this world. So now there are things you can do to change that if you want, but just understand that when it comes to surgery, things can go wrong and there is an upkeep. And I'm all for becoming what you want, who you want, right? Like work on yourself, do what you have to do to feel good about yourself. But I would just advise to be at peace with the idea that maybe the path to change may not bring the outcome you're searching for. And a way to be at peace with your look is to stop romanticizing and glorifying the lives of the women who are attractive, who society deems as above average beautiful. And I see a lot of women creating this fantasy that these beautiful, beautiful women are living these amazing lives. And some are, right? But that doesn't mean that average looking people cannot also. I mean, there are countless average looking people we see in the media that are successful in their own rights. And I'm sure if you look around you, like in your family, your environment, you'll see that there are a lot of average people, average looking people who are doing pretty well for themselves, right? They're pretty happy, they're pretty successful, married, kids and everything, or they have money or whatever you deem as successful that you think that only beautiful people could get. I promise you, there's average looking people around you that are getting it. Just maybe it's not in the same level, right? That's okay. And I do think that this is also dangerous way of like think in romanticizing above average looking people, beautiful people, especially women, because that's where the hate comes in. That's where the insecurities come in. That's where the jealousy, especially if you're very male centered, which most women are, it gets really dicey, right? Like you don't want to be a perpetrator. One, you don't want to even have those insecurities within you. That's not good for you. And it sucks because a lot of these beautiful women are a target for these average looking people, average looking women, right? And something else that I noticed that hinders the confidence of average looking people is that some of them will go into spaces that is focused or highlights beauty. An example of this is when I was in high school, I don't know if you guys remember, but at the malls and stuff, there was Hollister, there was Aeropostale, there was Abercrombie and Finch, and they would hire only a certain type of girls and and boys too, but they all were attractive, they were fit, they all had a certain look about them no matter the race. They all kind of fit a certain beauty standards. And I would see some of the girls would go apply and then they would be so hurt, so mad, they would be humiliated, and I'm like, well, yeah, like so sorry, this may sound mean, but you don't look like these girls. You already know that these brands are not gonna, the stores are not gonna hire you because they want their workers to fit in with their brand. And I personally think that there's nothing wrong with that. And I know that's controversial. I think that if people want to see a certain body type, then I feel like more people just have to create that. I live in America and I feel like we all have a lot of power to do that. Same goes for hospitality jobs like serving, hostessing, bartending in that niche. And when you think of places like Hooters or Twin Peaks, they also hire a certain look. And you cannot apply to these jobs being overweight and average looking. And I'm not saying that this is right, but unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. And the world and society is not fair, right? We know this already. And certain looks does speak to the masses. So the sooner we accept that there is a place for everyone, we will be at peace, right? All this catty behavior, this hateful behavior, all these negative behaviors will stop because not only are you hurting yourself, you're hurting innocent people just because they look a certain way. Like they didn't ask to win the genetic lottery, right? Like it just so happened to be that, hey, I came into this world and I'm beautiful, right? Society finds me beautiful. Average also does not mean ugly. Average just means you look like the average people in your community. No matter the race, there are average looking people and there are above average looking people. And there's people that fall below the average line. I just want to emphasize that average does not mean ugly. And there are things you could do to play up your look. You could go from a 5 to a 7 if you do different things. We can also play it down. I think that that is something that's a disclaimer that I have to say is that average does not equate to being ugly. It just means you look like everybody else. That's all. Another privilege that we have, especially in America, is that we can create our own spaces. Like I was saying earlier, we have the power to create a brand, our brand, specific to a certain demographic, right? It probably won't appeal to the masses, but there is always something out there for someone, right? And that is the beauty of having privilege, I guess capitalism. I am very much against the victim mentality. I do not like complaining. I'm not saying we can't talk about a problem. And I've gotten comments where people are like, "Well, does that mean we can't bring up any, wrongdoings or whatever?" Of course you can. All I'm saying is instead of complaining, find solutions, right? Like I just think the constant complaining and lack of solutions is what really irritates me. And I just feel like, yes, there's change that could be made, but you also have to understand that the world is unfair. Like it really is. And you get more peace when you accept it. I'm not saying to accept mistreatment, of course not. But what I am saying is that you can find your place in this world. We are living in America, right? We have more privileges than I think most of the world, in my opinion. We have a lot of privileges. So I just feel like we can find solutions that work for us, especially if you're an average looking person, right? It is truly not the end of the world. And I also want to add that when you are not so focused on being the best looking in the room, the prettiest, like worried about your looks and just giving yourself anxiety and having panic attacks, it is so much freeing to focus on things that you can benefit from, right? Like being beautiful isn't the only way to get privileges. It isn't the only way to have a good life, to live a good life, right? There are many other ways. Personally, for me, I think one of the best privileges in this world is financial privilege. Like that is the best. Like to survive in this world and live a comfortable life, that is one of the best privileges, right? I wouldn't say the best. I think the best privilege is having emotional stability. I feel like having emotional stability is one of the best things to have in this world, and financial stability, right? Like having a good mental health, having emotional control, having financial stability, having a fit body, having a taking care of yourself. You may not be above average in the face, but you can work on your body. There's like many other privileges that we can have that doesn't have to coincide or be beautiful, right? You don't have to be above average in your beauty. You could be above average in the workplace. You could be above average in your health. There's so many other things to strive for that, in my opinion, are probably so much more fulfilling than just beauty, right? And again, I want to tell you that a lot of these beautiful women that you see out there, that are winning in life, they use other privileges alongside maybe their beauty. Most likely their beauty also help them, but there's a lot of beautiful girls I see out there that are not doing that good for themselves. Like I see beautiful girls that are miserable because they're in the wrong relationship, their mental health isn't there. They're not financially smart. So being beautiful doesn't automatically mean that you are going to live a great life, right? Like you still have to be smart. You still have to have other factors. And I think when we look at beautiful women that are doing great for themselves, they are also very smart. They are very intelligent. They're emotionally mature. Um, there's like other factors. They're financially literate and stuff like that. Like we all have to kind of get out of our insecure perception of things and look at the facts. Be a bit more logical. Wanted to add, health is definitely at the top of that list. Having good health is one of the best privileges you can have because if your health is bad, then there's no way you can live a quality of life no matter how much money you have. Even if you're mentally strong, your health has to also be good in order for you to live a quality of life. And there are plenty of beautiful people who unfortunately don't have their health, and that's unfortunate. That's just to give you guys some perspective. The same concept goes with dating. When I see average looking women go for above average men and they get rejected and they start complaining, they feel humiliated, and they may blame it on external factors that really has nothing to do with that factor, right? It's because of how they look or whatever. I'm always like baffled. I'm like, well, yeah, it's kind of like applying to a job that you're not qualified for. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but that's just the closest I can think of. I wouldn't be a lawyer applying to be, a data tech analyst. It just doesn't make sense. So that's kind of how I see it. Every once in a while, you'll see an average looking person with an above average looking person also, but to me, those are the exceptions to the rules. That's just most people tend to gravitate towards the people who are on their level, right? Like maybe you'll see a 6 with like a 7 or a 5. You'll see a 4 with like another 4 or 5 or 6. They're usually on the same scale. And I think really understanding this will help you become secure, will help you become secure in yourself and not be constantly disappointed and understand that it has nothing to do with you. People just like what they like, just like you like what you like. Understand that we all can't get what we want. Like it's just what it is. That's where acceptance plays a huge role. And it's so freeing to just accept the way things are. And I'm all for fighting for injustice and inequality, yes. But I think that there are ways to do that. I think there are steps that we can take. And yeah, and that's all. Maybe I'll do a series on this because I do have a lot to say about this, but I didn't want to make this video too long. I would really love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Are you an average looking person who is dealing with trying to accept this, or are you an above average looking person who have dealt with being targeted for your looks? I think this is a very nuanced conversation and I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.